Hey there. Hi. How are you? Odessa here, womb wellness coach, and I wanted to talk with you all today about not feeling connected to your womb. I don't feel connected to my womb. I'm unaware of her needs and my body is hurting me. Um, Not feeling balanced, not feeling in alignment seems to be a normal thing that many women are living with. People in general, right? Every time I talk about this work, it's people in general and women specifically. And, we're looking for answers to the problems that we're having, the chronic problems that we're having, but oftentimes we're going without any real answers. You can be making appointments with specialists outside of, what your doctor is suggesting to you, going to see the osteopaths, going to see the nutritionist, you know what I mean, going to maybe see an acupuncturist. And, many women are telling me that they're still not feeling balanced, as though something is just not sinking in. And it's like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in your life, around your life. And whereas there are certain needles, this work is able to do, what I am hearing and what I've been hearing is that there's still a lot left to be found out, to be understood. A lot of conversations around, how I can improve my health, how I can, move, like pretty much stabilize my hormones, right? Like I hear so many conversations, I have so many conversations around, gut health, which is not working well, and you're trying all of these different things, but there's just so much gas and there's so much bloating and there's so much hurting when you're eating your foods. And you know what I mean? Like menstrual pain and just feeling blasé, right? Because once again, one thing that we all tend to do is give more than we have. So if you're not feeling, as though you're in alignment with yourself and you're trying to figure out your self-care, then this particular talk is for you. Needing to get our health in alignment and that urge to feel connected to your body, that's a real thing. That's a real thing, and it's happening for a reason. It's like not knowing that you had an itch, not knowing that you were actually craving something, not knowing that you were hungry. And when you get the food, when you actually begin eating the food, that's when you recognize that you were absolutely not satiated every single time you thought that you were. Or maybe you were there thinking that you weren't thirsty, that you weren't hungry, to find out that you're actually ravenous. So, I mean, wanting to be in control of your health, wanting to know how to navigate your wellness is important. It's a crucial piece. Like there are many women who are trying to get that control over the fluctuations, over the back and forth. Like, what's happening? Why am I feeling this way today? Why am I not this way? Why is it when I'm around certain people, I'm responding like this? Why is it when I'm in particular environments, I'm like this? How come when I'm with this particular, energy, I present in this way? And so, I'm just looking at my notes here, wanting to make sure I don't fall off track. What many are doing is like you're flocking to social media, you're flocking to the internet, you're flocking to these full moon gurus, right? Like that's what I call them. Or another word, it's a little bit more of a taboo word, pussy princess. This is a word that a girlfriend of mine, we coined about 7 years ago when we were talking about the movement of, women who are interested in womb healing, but not able to actually really connect the deep parts. Give thanks for that, love. Not really able to connect the deep parts. And so, whereas, you have this movement of women of, who are very much talking about what it means to be a woman, what it means to embrace feminine energy, and talking about connecting with the moon. But then on the other hand, you have, people who are watching them, and it's like, well, what is this really? How, what is it that you're actually in, that you're getting involved in? Like, does it actually work? Is this something that is for me? Because it's like the main concern, I get it, is that we want to improve our quality of life. We want to improve our health. We want to feel centered and validated. And when we see women doing this, in a way that is different, in the way that is free, it's questionable. It gives off questionable vibes. And but then, like, when you see these women who feel free and who are loving themselves, like, what exactly are they doing? And then when you look at where you are in your life, what exactly is it that you're doing, right? Like, you feel like a penny with a hole in it. Like, have you ever heard that song? I think I'm hopeless, like a penny with a hole in it, right? And nobody wants to feel like that. We want to feel empowered. We want to feel connected. We want to feel capable and confident, when we're talking about our bodies, when we're talking about our health, and when we're conveying the message of whatever it is that we're doing to the people around us, to those other people around us, and so, like, I'm just kind of here just talking about it, and not necessarily dispelling the myths, but just bringing it up to the surface, because we have these questionable practices that are becoming very popular, and how do we reckon with them? How do we, recognize where we are in them? Because it's like, these women are talking about how much they honor themselves, or they honor their bodies, and they're practicing all of these different things, but what does it mean for me? And how practical is it, and how tangible is it? What, and how can I use that? What parts and what pieces of it can I use that can be in alignment with what my needs are, what my specific needs are? Because living with a disconnection to yourself, like living with an itch that you didn't know need to be scratched, you know what I mean? Like, not realizing or not knowing that you are starving yourself, all the while, like, there was an abundance around you. We don't want to be putting ourselves in these kinds of situations, right? But it's happening. And then, when we are going to see our doctors and our primary caregivers, they are reductionists. They analyze everything. They do not synthesize. They separate. They're looking at things one by one and piece by piece. And when we look at what this represents, like these, women on the horizon of something different and something new, there's some kind of an integration that's happening that, like, that needs to be developed and brought back together again. Because your body hurting you, your womb hurting you, you not knowing what your body needs, you feeling as though you're just kind of in limbo, in a purgatory, wanting to do more, but not necessarily knowing how you can improve your quality of life, because you're living in a blase, like an in-between phase. Recognizing where you are and how you can pivot and what you're going to do before you pivot is really important. And so, there aren't too many practitioners who focus on womb wellness, who focus on, feminine healing. As I mentioned, you'll find your therapist who does holistic work and who's great at what they do. And, you have your primary caregivers who are, very competent at most of them. Okay. Most of them are competent at trauma and crises prevention and intervention. And then you have this, like I mentioned, this new class of, women, or this new genre category of women who are talking about this alignment and rhythm that is, sounds familiar, like the vibes of it, the shadow phase of it as it approaches, or as it, takes up more space in the ethers. It sounds familiar to a lot of women, who talk about it. Like, I'm having more and more conversations, with my clients, especially who have just had birth, and talking to them, and they're speaking, and it's like they're afraid to talk about the experiences, the intuitive experiences that they're having, and what's going on in their bodies. And I'm like, you guys have no idea how comfortable you can be when having these conversations with me, right? So you know, who are you working with? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of support are you getting? What kind of information are you coming into contact with? Is it, encouraging you on that path of heartfelt desire to really like understand like what in heaven's name is going on with my body? Why am I experiencing life from this, from this vantage point, this viewpoint, from this particular level of consciousness and experience, and what more do I need to do? You know what I mean? Like, there's not too many people doing this work. Who is doing this work? Who is legit at doing this work? And what can I do? How can I integrate it into my own, consciousness to be able to start the process of healing, of, keeping accountable. And, so one of the things that you've got to do is really just lean into the unknown, right? Like this non-awareness, this unawareness of what's happening to your body, this need to know, this desire to keep pushing forward. This is part of like the soul urge, is what I call it. Other people would potentially call it the same thing or different, but that desire for your own healing, for your own evolution, and that desire to be able to be effective, to those around you. So like keep really leaning into that inquiry, because what I do find to be true is eventually what happens is, the like space, divine, the universe, God, Yahweh, Jehovah, however you interpret, begins to open up, the pathways. And this is where the healing comes towards you through the people and the books and the videos and the teachers and, whatever it is that you need. So whenever you have a fervent prayer, like a really like deep, like passion or burning for something in your heart, and you are maintaining this and you're moving forward with this in your life, and like example, like you really want to know, like, why is my relationship to my womb like this? Why is my relationship to my own sexuality, my own sensuality like this? Why am I so interested now in this type of healing method? Where can I get this information from? Who can I speak to? What do I have to do? Like, these burning questions or just these thoughts that start to come up. And if you are sitting with them long enough, the answers will come to you. Your intuition will begin to respond if you listen, if you're really, really prepared to do the work, right? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear in whichever way, shape, or form this is going to happen. And so this also means that, you're longing for a level of accountability, right? Like I have found on my own journey, and also as I've been journeying with other women who are on the healing pathway, keeping that inquiry and moving forward with that, but also recognizing that there's a level of accountability that you have to maintain for yourself. This now means that you are taking a full responsibility for what it is that you need to accomplish, what check marks, checkpoints you need to reach, you know what I mean? What tasks you need to complete, like, because if you can't keep yourself accountable, if you don't have the mindset to do that work, if you're not able to make yourself that priority, as you are working through that process, working through the emotion of feeling disconnected, of, sussing through your own experience of yourself and your body, you're going to see where your gaps are. You're going to see where the gaps are in your health. You're going to see where the gaps are in your livity, in your 12 steps, in I call in my program. We do a lot of different kinds of things, but one thing we talk about is the 12 house assessment. And, I like to talk about 12 different houses that, that really, we govern, and we're governed by, or we kind of dip into, and, oh my gosh, like a sub personality, right? Or a sub archetype that we're working through. And when we are able to, tap into these and understand these, then we see what needs tweaking, how we can tweak it, but we need to keep ourselves accountable. That's where I'm getting with it, right? So it's like you have this yearning and this urge, like when you have a really deep call like that. Most people, when they're on that healing journey, when they're on a spiritual journey, when they're on a healing journey, and trust me, this shit gets really, really messy, but that calling brings you to like a precipice, right? A precipice of, okay, well, who are the people that are around? What can I do? Where can I go? How can I learn? And, it brings you to that point within yourself that you need to make the decision. Am I going to be accountable for the changes that need to be made? Because I can continue living like this and going on because it's okay, right? I can work with it, or I can do the uncomfortable work to make sure that I'm making those changes, right? So I just wanted to hop in quickly and give you all that little bit of love, because I know that there are a lot of women who don't feel as though they know what their womb needs. I know that there are a lot of women around who are walking around feeling very disconnected from themselves, and like they're just in pain. Their body is hurting and they're not sure what to do or what steps to take next. And so I just want to invite you to join my Facebook group. Just come through. Let's have those conversations. Let's open up and, give space for more. That's really what it is. Y'all, I'm going to go. Take care wherever you are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and we will connect again soon. Be well.